Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're looking at something pretty wild, a cybersecurity incident that hit ChatGPT accounts. Over 100,000 of them.
Wow.
And knowing how much you love keeping up with cybersecurity, I have a feeling this one's going to be right up your alley.
Yeah, definitely.
So today, let's try to piece together exactly how this all happened, and then we're going to take a deep dive into the vulnerabilities that made it possible. And of course, we have to talk about what it means for the future of AI and how we can make sure it's secure.
Sounds good. Well, you know what's really interesting about this whole thing? This wasn't like a super sophisticated attack on OpenAI's system or anything like that. The research we have actually points to a report from Group IB, the cybersecurity firm.
Okay.
And they found all these compromised accounts up for sale on the dark web.
The dark web.
Yep. And the real culprit here, good old-fashioned malware.
Malware, really? I thought ChatGPT was supposed to be this cutting-edge AI with like top-notch security. How did malware manage to crack so many accounts?
Well, it's not that ChatGPT itself was like inherently insecure. The paper we're looking at today actually digs into some cybersecurity best practices.
Okay.
Specifically access management, which is all about how a system controls who gets in and what they can do once they're there.
Makes sense.
In the case of ChatGPT, they relied on a pretty simple username and password system.
Right? Seems straightforward enough.
But that actually creates a single point of failure. So if that password gets compromised, it's game over.
I see. So malware got its hands on those user passwords, and that's how they got into the ChatGPT accounts.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But tell me more about this malware. What are we dealing with here?
So the report from Group IB specifically calls out Raccoon.
Raccoon.
It's a type of info-stealing malware, often sneaks onto computers through phishing scams, and then it's basically like a digital vacuum cleaner, sucking up passwords, credit card details, browsing history, you name it. All that juicy data gets packaged up and sold on the dark web.
That's terrifying. So ChatGPT accounts are valuable targets in this shady marketplace.
Absolutely.
Why is that? I mean, what makes them so valuable to hackers?
Well, think about it. All the stuff you might share with ChatGPT, confidential documents, business ideas, maybe even personal struggles. It's a gold mine for anyone looking to exploit that information.
So in this case, Raccoon swiped those user credentials right from their browsers,
Right.
and those credentials were then used to access their ChatGPT accounts.
Yeah.
Crazy. You'd think something as important as ChatGPT would have, like, better security in place. Is there anything that could have stopped this from happening?
Actually, the paper we're looking at highlights a critical security feature that could have made all the difference.
Okay, tell me more.
Multi-factor authentication, or MFA.
Oh, MFA.
It's basically an extra layer of security that requires you to confirm your identity through a separate channel, like a code sent to your phone or your email.
Oh, like that extra step my bank uses.
Exactly.
They send me a code to my phone whenever I try to log in. That makes sense. So if ChatGPT users had this MFA enabled, would that have stopped Raccoon in its tracks?
Precisely. Even if Raccoon had managed to steal those passwords, the second factor, like that code sent to your phone,
Right.
would have acted as a roadblock and prevented unauthorized access. And two-factor authentication, or 2FA, the most common form of MFA, is surprisingly simple to set up, but incredibly effective. And this whole incident really highlights just how important it is.
It's like overlooking cybersecurity basics, even in this age of AI. But I'm curious, why wasn't 2FA already mandatory for ChatGPT? It seems like such a fundamental security feature.
That's a great question, and it actually raises some interesting points about balancing security with user experience. Now, the paper doesn't explicitly say why OpenAI didn't mandate 2FA, but we can speculate that they might prioritize making it as easy as possible for people to jump in and start using ChatGPT.
Right, make it super user-friendly.
Exactly. But as we've seen, that convenience can come with some risks.
That's a really important point. The tension between security and convenience, it seems like something we'll have to grapple with more and more as AI becomes even more integrated into our lives. But before we go too far down that road, let's get back to the practicalities of the specific incident. What are some actionable steps we can take to protect ourselves online, especially when it comes to AI tools like ChatGPT?
Both the research paper and Group IAB's recommendations have some great advice.
Okay, let's hear it.
First and foremost, create strong, unique passwords for every single online account you have. I know it's tempting to use the same one everywhere.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But that's like using the same key for your house, your car, and your office.
Right, that's where password managers come in handy. I use one to generate and store all my crazy complex passwords so I don't have to remember them all.
That's a great idea. But strong passwords alone aren't enough.
Especially after learning about this whole ChatGPT incident.
You're absolutely right, and that's why the second piece of advice is to enable 2FA wherever it's offered. Most platforms make it pretty easy to set up, and the peace of mind it provides is definitely worth the effort.
So strong, unique passwords and enabling 2FA. Those are the two big takeaways here. And you know what? These are good practices for any online account, not just ChatGPT. It's a reminder that cybersecurity basics are more important than ever, even with all this fancy AI stuff.
Exactly. This deep dive isn't just about ChatGPT. It's about being mindful of our online security across the board.
Now let's talk about the information we share online, especially with AI tools like ChatGPT. Group IB specifically recommended that users review their chat history and delete anything sensitive.
Good advice.
It's like spring cleaning for our digital lives.
Exactly, and it brings up a larger point that's kind of hinted at in the research. As AI tools become more and more intertwined with our lives, think personal assistants, automating tasks, even creative collaborations, the lines between convenience and security, well, they start to get blurrier.
Yeah, it's true.
We want these tools to be helpful, but we also need to be aware of the risks.
It's like we're entering uncharted territory, entrusting AI with more and more of our personal and professional lives. And that trust needs to be built on a foundation of security and privacy.
You're absolutely right.
So what can OpenAI do on their end to address these concerns? I mean, they're the ones who created ChatGPT, after all.
Well, the research paper actually outlines some concrete suggestions for them.
Okay, I'm listening.
Remember how we talked about 2FA being a total game changer?
Yeah, definitely.
The paper strongly suggests that OpenAI make 2FA mandatory for all ChatGPT accounts. It's a simple change that could significantly bolster security for everyone.
It's like installing a deadbolt on your front door. Not foolproof, but definitely makes it a lot harder to break in.
Exactly.
And besides 2FA, the paper also suggests OpenAI implement stricter password policies. Longer passwords, complex character combinations, and even prompting users to change their passwords regularly.
Absolutely. Those measures can make a big difference. And here's another interesting suggestion from the research paper. Chat history encryption.
Chat history encryption.
Yeah, imagine having a digital key to lock up your entire ChatGPT conversation history. So even if someone gets your account credentials, your conversations stay protected.
Wow, that's like having a secret vault for our most sensitive conversations. It'll give users so much more control over their data and peace of mind knowing their information is truly protected.
Exactly.
But security is a two-way street, right? Even if OpenAI implements all these safeguards, it's ultimately up to us, the users, to be responsible for our own online security.
You hit the nail on the head. This deep dive really underscores that cybersecurity is a shared responsibility. OpenAI can create secure systems and provide us with the tools, but we need to be proactive, informed, and vigilant. We'll dive more into what that looks like in the next part of our deep dive.
All right, sounds good. Looking forward to it.
So let's unpack what being proactive about our online security actually looks like.
Okay.
We've talked about strong passwords, 2FA.
Yeah.
But there's another layer to consider.
Okay, I'm all ears. What else can we do to really lock down our online presence, especially with these AI tools becoming so powerful?
It really comes down to being mindful of the data we share. Think about it. Every interaction we have with ChatGPT gets recorded in our chat history.
Right.
And that history can paint a pretty detailed picture of our work, our ideas, even our personal lives.
That's true. And as we've seen, if someone gets unauthorized access to our account, all that information is up for grabs. It's a sobering reminder that we need to treat our digital footprint with care.
Exactly. It's like thinking before you speak. But in the digital realm,
Right.
we need to pause and consider the potential implications of the information we share, especially with AI. Are we okay with this information being stored and potentially accessed by others? Do we really need to share this particular detail with ChatGPT? Or can we achieve our goal without divulging sensitive information?
Those are some really good questions to ask ourselves. It's all about being intentional with our digital interactions, just like we are with our offline interactions. But let's say we've been super diligent, We're using strong passwords, we've enabled 2FA, and we're being mindful of the data we share. Is that enough to guarantee our online security in this age of AI?
That's where things get even more interesting.
Oh.
You see, even with all those precautions in place, there's still a level of risk that we need to acknowledge.
Okay.
The reality is that no system is completely foolproof.
Right.
Hackers are constantly finding new ways to exploit vulnerabilities. And AI tools, as advanced as they may seem, they're not immune to these threats.
That's a little unsettling. So what can we do to mitigate those risks even further? Should we just avoid using AI altogether?
Well, that's not necessarily the solution. AI has the potential to revolutionize so many aspects of our lives.
Yeah.
Simply shying away from it would be like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Instead, we need to find ways to harness the power of AI responsibly,
Okay.
while also being aware of its limitations and potential downsides.
So it's all about finding that balance, right?
Okay.
Embracing innovation, but also protecting ourselves from the potential risks. How do we go about striking that balance?
It's a multifaceted challenge that requires a collaborative effort. We need developers, policymakers, and everyday users all working together.
Okay.
We need to advocate for robust security measures being built into AI systems from the ground up. We need to educate ourselves about the potential risks and how to mitigate them. And we need to demand transparency and accountability from the companies developing these powerful tools.
It sounds like navigating the world of AI security requires us to be informed, engaged, and proactive, just like with any other aspect of our digital lives.
Precisely. We can't simply rely on others to protect us. We need to take ownership of our digital security and make informed decisions about how we interact with AI.
That makes sense. Now, shifting gears a bit, the research paper also goes into some more technical stuff about cybersecurity.
Okay.
Specifically, it focuses on the different types of multi-factor authentication. I know we talked about 2FA earlier, but are there other methods out there?
Yes, there are. While 2FA is definitely the most common, Shorn, relying on that code sent to your phone or email,
Right.
there are other approaches that offer different levels of security and convenience.
Okay, like what?
For example, some systems use app-based authentication.
App-based.
Yeah, you use an app on your smartphone to generate a one-time code. This can actually be more secure than SMS-based 2FA, which can be vulnerable to something called SIM swapping attacks.
SIM swapping attacks, that sounds scary. What is that?
It's a social engineering technique where a hacker tricks your mobile carrier into transferring your phone number to a SIM card they control.
Oh, wow.
Once they have your number, they can intercept those 2FA codes sent via SMS.
So they basically hijack your phone number.
Exactly.
That's pretty sneaky.
Yeah.
So app-based authentication is a more secure option than SMS.
Generally speaking, yes. App-based authentication relies on a separate, dedicated app, which makes it much harder for hackers to intercept those codes.
Okay,
But it does require you to have your smartphone handy whenever you need to log in.
that makes sense. Are there any other MFA methods worth mentioning?
There's also hardware-based authentication.
Hardware-based.
Yeah, it involves using a physical device, like a USB security key, to verify your identity.
Okay.
This is considered one of the most secure forms of MFA because it's virtually impossible to duplicate or intercept the unique cryptographic key stored on the device.
So it's like having a physical key to unlock your digital accounts.
Exactly.
That sounds pretty secure.
It is, however, it comes with its own set of challenges.
Like what?
Well, there's the cost of the hardware token and the need to carry it with you wherever you go.
Right, so it's not always the most practical. It seems like each MFA method has its own pros and cons.
Exactly.
How do we know which one is right for us?
It really depends on your individual security needs and preferences.
Okay.
If you're just looking for that basic level of protection, SMS-based 2FA is a good starting point. But for higher security, especially for accounts with sensitive information, app-based or hardware-tiered authentication are definitely better options.
That's helpful advice, and it's great to know we have options. But speaking of options, the research paper also explores some alternative approaches to user authentication.
Oh, yeah?
Beyond traditional passwords and MFA, did anything in particular stand out to you?
One area that caught my eye was the concept of biometric authentication.
Biometric authentication, what is that?
This involves using your unique biological traits, things like fingerprints, facial recognition, or iris scans,
Wow.
to verify your identity.
So like what they use on smartphones.
Exactly. It's becoming more and more common on smartphones and other devices, and it has the potential to really revolutionize how we access our digital lives.
That's pretty cool, but also a little scary. Biometric authentication, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. It seems incredibly secure. But are there any privacy concerns?
That's a valid concern. Biometric data is very sensitive, and if it falls into the wrong hands, it could be used for malicious purposes. So it's crucial to make sure any system using biometric authentication has really robust security measures in place to protect that data.
So it's all about finding that balance between security and convenience yet again.
It always is. And it seems like the landscape of user authentication is constantly evolving, with new technologies and approaches popping up all the time.
It's hard to keep up.
It is.
But let's not lose sight of the big picture here. This entire deep dive started because of a major security incident with ChatGPT accounts.
Right.
We've talked about the vulnerabilities, the importance of strong passwords and MFA, the need to be careful about the data we share. But what I'm really curious about is this. What are the long-term implications of this incident? Does it change how we view AI and its role in our lives?
That's a really profound question, and I think the answer is a bit multifaceted.
Okay.
On one hand, this incident serves as a wake-up call. It reminds us that even the most sophisticated AI tools, they're not immune to security threats. It really underscores the need for vigilance and proactive security measures, both from developers and users.
So it's like a reality check, reminding us that AI, for all its advancements, is still susceptible to the same vulnerabilities as any other digital technology.
Exactly. But on the other hand, I think this incident also highlights the incredible potential of AI and the need to find ways to harness its power responsibly. We can't let fear of security risks stifle innovation. Instead, we need to find ways to address those risks head-on so we can fully embrace the transformative potential of AI.
So it's like any new technology, really. There are risks and rewards, and it's up to us to navigate those complexities.
You got it. And as we continue to explore the capabilities of AI, we need to keep those security implications front and center. It's not about being paranoid or fearful, but rather about being informed and proactive.
So it's all about being mindful, being security-conscious users of AI.
Absolutely. And that awareness is key. It's key to making sure that we can reap the benefits of AI while also minimizing the potential risks.
Well said. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to circle back to a suggestion from the research paper that we kind of touched upon earlier, chat history encryption.
Ah, yes. Can you elaborate on that a bit more? It sounds like it could be a real game changer for user privacy.
Absolutely. Chat history encryption is basically like putting a digital lock on all your conversations with ChatGPT. Only you with the proper decryption key can access those conversations. So even if someone gets into your account, they wouldn't be able to read your chat history.
That's a really powerful security feature. It would give users so much more control over their data and peace of mind knowing that their conversations are truly private.
Exactly.
Is this something that's currently available in ChatGPT?
Not yet.
Oh,
It's still a relatively new concept. And there are some technical challenges to overcome, like key management and ensuring a seamless user experience. But it's definitely an area of active research and development. And I think it's something we're going to see more of in the future.
it sounds like a really promising development. And it aligns perfectly with the growing emphasis on user privacy in the digital age. It does. It's a testament to the fact that security and privacy aren't afterthoughts. They need to be integral parts of the AI development process,
Yeah.
right from the very beginning.
Well said. Now, as we approach the end of this deep dive, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what the future holds for AI security. What trends are you seeing? What are you most excited about?
One trend I'm particularly excited about is the rise of privacy-enhancing technologies,
Privacy-enhancing technologies, what are those?
sometimes called PTs.
PTs.
Yeah, these are technologies that are specifically designed to protect user privacy while still enabling the use of data for analysis and innovation. For example, there's a technique called differential privacy, which allows researchers to extract insights from datasets without compromising the privacy of individual data points.
That sounds fascinating. So we can have our cake and eat it too. Benefit from data-driven insights without sacrificing our privacy?
Exactly. And I think these types of privacy-enhancing technologies are going to play a crucial role in shaping the future of AI. They'll allow us to harness the power of AI while also safeguarding our privacy and ensuring that our data is used responsibly.
That's a very optimistic outlook. And it's reassuring to know that there are brilliant minds out there working on solutions that prioritize both innovation and user privacy.
Absolutely. The future of AI is bright, but it's up to us to ensure that it's a future where security and privacy are not compromised.
Well said. Now, before we wrap up completely, let's take a moment to recap what we've learned in this deep dive. We started by investigating a major security incident involving ChatGPT accounts, and we uncovered the vulnerabilities that allowed malware to get in and compromise those accounts.
Right, we talked about the importance of strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, and being mindful of the data we share online, not just with AI tools, but with any online platform.
And we talked about the different types of MFA, weighed the pros and cons of each approach,
And we also delved into some of the broader implications of this incident, emphasizing that cybersecurity is a shared responsibility between developers and users.
We touched upon the potential of chat history encryption and the rise of privacy-enhancing technologies as really promising developments in the field of AI security.
Absolutely. And throughout our conversation, we've really highlighted that ongoing tension between convenience and security, and the need to strike a balance that allows us to embrace the transformative power of AI without compromising our privacy or security.
Excellent recap. And now, as we reach the end of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
If AI tools like ChatGPT continue to evolve at this rapid pace, becoming even more integrated into our daily lives, how do we ensure that security and privacy keep up? It's a question without easy answers, but it's one we all need to consider. As we navigate this exciting yet complex world of artificial intelligence,
It's a question that requires ongoing dialogue and collaboration. We need to foster a culture of security awareness, advocate for robust privacy regulations, and support the development of innovative security solutions. The future of AI depends on it.
so as we wrap up this deep dive into ChatGPT and cybersecurity, what are some key takeaways you hope our listeners will walk away with?
Well, I hope this deep dive serves as a reminder that cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility. It's not just about complex algorithms and technical jargon. It's about making smart choices and developing good digital habits. Things like choosing strong passwords, enabling 2FA, and being mindful of the information we share online.
Those are definitely actionable steps that anyone can take regardless of their technical expertise. And this deep dive wasn't just about ChatGPT. It was about using this specific incident to look at the bigger picture of AI security.
Right.
And it seems like one of the recurring themes is this delicate balance between convenience and security.
That's a great point. As AI becomes more integrated into our lives, we're going to face this tension more and more. We want these tools to be easy to use and accessible. But we also need to prioritize security and privacy.
So what does that mean for the future of AI? How do we make sure that security and privacy don't get left behind as AI continues to advance at this incredible speed?
I think it requires a multi-pronged approach.
Okay.
Developers need to prioritize building security into AI systems from the very beginning, not as an afterthought.
Right.
We need to have open and honest conversations about the potential risks of AI without stifling innovation. And policymakers need to create regulations that protect user privacy while also fostering innovation.
It sounds like a collaborative effort involving everyone, from the tech industry to policymakers to everyday users like us.
Exactly. We're all in this together. And by working together, we can ensure that the future of AI is one that's both innovative and secure.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. It's been a really eye-opening exploration of ChatGPT, cybersecurity, and the future of AI.
It was my pleasure. Always happy to dive deep into these fascinating topics.
And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We hope you found this deep dive informative and thought-provoking. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.